Two badges show up in more driveways across America than almost any other, and for decades, owners have argued about which one actually holds up better once the warranty runs out. Toyota built its entire brand identity on the idea that its vehicles simply refuse to die, while Ford has spent the last 10 years proving it can build genuinely exciting, capable trucks and SUVs that compete on every spec sheet. But when you strip away the marketing and just look at what happens to these vehicles at 80,000 miles, 150,000 miles, and beyond, the picture gets a lot more specific than Toyota good, Ford bad. This is where the real answer lives, and it is not as simple as either fan base wants it to be. Both companies sell to very different instincts. Toyota buyers tend to prioritize predictability above almost everything else, choosing a Camry or a RAV4 specifically, because it promises to disappear into the background of daily life without demanding attention. Ford buyers, especially truck buyers, are often chasing capability first, and durability becomes something they hope comes along for the ride rather than the primary reason for the purchase. That difference in buyer psychology has shaped how each company engineers its vehicles, and it explains a lot of what shows up in the mileage data below. We pulled apart engine architecture, transmission history, rust patterns, ownership cost studies, and real high-mileage examples from both brands to find out which one actually earns its reputation and which one is coasting on it. Engine durability under real mileage. It helps to remember that durability isn't a single number engineers design toward. It's the sum of dozens of smaller decisions about tolerances, materials, and how hard a component is asked to work in daily use. A turbocharged engine making similar horsepower to a larger naturally aspirated one is, by definition, working harder per cubic inch of displacement, which is why boosted engines generally carry more risk of long-term wear, even when they're well-engineered. That single design philosophy difference between Toyota's naturally aspirated approach and Ford's turbocharged EcoBoost strategy explains more about the durability gap between these two brands than any single failure story does. Start with the power plants, because everything else is downstream of whether the engine survives. Toyota's naturally aspirated 4- and 6-cylinder engines, particularly the 2.5-liter found in the Camry and RAV4 and the 3.5-liter V6 used across the lineup, have a well-earned reputation for going past 250,000 miles with nothing more than scheduled maintenance. Toyota has stuck with proven port and direct injection setups, conservative turbocharging where it exists, and timing chains rather than belts in the majority of its lineup, which removes one of the most common failure points other automakers still deal with. Ford's story is more divided. The EcoBoost family, especially the 2.7-liter and 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 engines used in the F-150, Explorer, and Edge, delivers genuinely impressive power and towing capability, but that performance comes from running higher boost pressures and tighter tolerances than a naturally aspirated engine needs. Early EcoBoost applications saw documented issues with timing chain stretch, coolant intrusion into cylinders on certain 3.5-liter builds, and turbocharger wastegate rattle that, while rarely catastrophic, added up in repair visits. Ford has refined these engines significantly through multiple generations, and the current EcoBoost units are far more dependable than the first ones that launched. But they still ask more of their internals than Toyota's engines do, and that gap tends to show up as the odometer climbs past 120,000 miles. Where Ford genuinely competes is with its older, simpler engines, the 5.0-liter Coyote V8, in the F-150, and Mustang has built its own reputation for durability, using a naturally aspirated design with dual overhead cams and a bottom end that handles high mileage without drama. Owners regularly report Coyote-powered trucks crossing 200,000 miles with only routine maintenance, which puts Ford's best engine in the same conversation as Toyota's best, even if the average across Ford's lineup doesn't quite reach that bar. It's also worth separating Ford's car engines from its truck engines, because they age very differently. The 1.5-liter and 2.0-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinders used in the Escape and Edge have a spottier record, with some early production years reporting cylinder head issues and coolant consumption problems that required warranty intervention. Toyota's 4-cylinder lineup, by contrast, has been remarkably consistent across body styles, whether it's under the hood of a Corolla, a Camry, or a RAV4. That consistency matters more than most buyers realize, because it means Toyota's reputation isn't riding on one standout engine, the way Ford's durability story leans heavily on the Coyote V8, carrying the rest of the lineup's average upward. Transmission reliability over time. transmissions separate these two brands more clearly than engines do. Toyota has leaned on conventional torque converter automatics and, more recently, well-sorted CVTs, and both have proven remarkably resistant to the kind of shudder, hesitation, and outright failure that plagues less careful transmission designs. The 8-speed and 10-speed automatics Toyota shares with other manufacturers and trucks like the Tundra have had a smoother rollout than most new transmission platforms typically see. Ford's transmission history carries more baggage. The 10R80 10-speed automatic, developed jointly with General Motors and used across the F-150, Explorer, and Mustang, has generally performed well, but Ford's earlier power-shift dual-clutch transmission used in the Focus and Fiesta became one of the most talked-about reliability failures in the company's recent history, with clutch pack wear causing shuddering, delayed engagement, and repeat dealership visits that led to a class-action settlement. That transmission is gone from the lineup now, but it left a mark on how owners perceive Ford's willingness to rush technology to market before it was fully proven. The current 10-speed units in trucks and SUVs don't carry the same baggage and have posted solid reliability numbers, closing much of the gap Toyota built with its more conservative approach. The lesson buried in that history is instructive for anyone shopping used. A Ford built during a model year when a new transmission or engine had just launched carries meaningfully more risk than one built 2 or 3 years into that platform's life, once early production issues have typically been resolved through revised parts and updated software calibrations. Toyota rarely puts buyers in that position because it changes powertrains so infrequently and tests so conservatively before launch. But Ford's faster development cycle means a savvy used car shopper needs to pay closer attention to exactly which model year and which engine or transmission combination they're looking at, rather than trusting the nameplate alone. Rust resistance and body longevity. A vehicle that runs forever isn't much good if the frame rusts out from under it, and this is a category where regional history matters. Toyota faced its own serious rust scandal with early 2000s Tacoma and Tundra trucks, where frame corrosion became severe enough that Toyota implemented a frame replacement program that cost the company well over $1 billion. Toyota responded by improving corrosion protection and coating processes on later models, and Tacomas and Tundras built after roughly 2010 show meaningfully better rust resistance in salt belt states. Ford has generally avoided a scandal of that scale, but F-150s and Explorers, built with the fully boxed frames introduced in the mid-2010s, show strong resistance to structural rust, aided by galvanized coatings that Ford applies more thoroughly than in decades past. Where Ford still lags is in body panel rust on older escapes and edges, particularly around wheel wells and rear hatch areas, on vehicles that spent winters on salted roads. Neither brand gets a clean sheet here, but a Toyota or Ford bought in the last decade and maintained with basic care will typically outlast the powertrain underneath it structurally. Geography plays a bigger role in this category than brand loyalty does. A Ford or Toyota that spent its life in Arizona, Texas, or Southern California will show almost no rust regardless of which badge is on the grille, while the same models sold new in Michigan, Ohio, or upstate New York face a much tougher fight against road salt. If you're shopping used and rust resistance matters to you, checking the vehicle's registration history for salt belt states matters more than which of these two brands built it. Though Toyota's post-2010 corrosion improvements do give it a slight edge in a head-to-head comparison of otherwise identical climate histories. Electronics, infotainment, and small part failures. Modern reliability isn't only about the engine and transmission anymore. It's increasingly about whether the touchscreen, sensors, and driver assist hardware keep working without a dealer visit. This is a category where Ford has struggled more publicly than Toyota. The Sync infotainment system went through several rocky generations, with early Sync 3 units in Escapes and Explorers reporting freezing screens, Bluetooth pairing failures, and backup camera glitches that owners had to bring in for software updates. Ford has largely fixed these issues in recent model years, and the current Sync 4 system is far more stable, but the earlier reputation still shapes how buyers shop the used market today. Toyota's infotainment systems have historically been less flashy, and that simplicity has worked in its favor. Entune and the newer Toyota Audio Multimedia system aren't considered class leaders for features, but they also generate far fewer complaints about freezing, rebooting, or losing connectivity. The trade-off is real. Ford's tech feels more modern and capable when it works, while Toyota's feels dated but rarely breaks. For a buyer who cares more about not dealing with a warranty claim than about having the newest interface, that trade-off clearly favors Toyota, though it's worth noting the gap has narrowed considerably in each company's most recent model years. Sensors tell a similar story. Backup cameras, blind spot monitors, and adaptive cruise radar units are now standard across both brands, and both have had isolated recalls related to these systems. But Ford's higher overall complaint volume on driver assist glitches in owner forums suggests the calibration and testing process still has more room to mature than Toyota's, which tends to roll these features out more conservatively and after longer validation periods. Maintenance costs and ownership expense. This is where Toyota's reputation translates most directly into real savings, because Toyota's engines and transmissions are simpler and more conservatively engineered. Routine maintenance tends to be cheaper and less frequent. Data from ownership cost studies consistently places Toyota near the bottom of the pack for annual repair spending, particularly once a vehicle passes the 5-year mark and warranty coverage ends. Ford's ownership costs run higher, partly because of the added complexity in its turbocharged engines, and partly because Ford's dealer network parts and labor pricing tends to sit above Toyota's on comparable repairs. A water pump failure on certain EcoBoost engines, for instance, can be a more involved job than the equivalent Toyota repair because of how the pump is integrated into the timing cover. None of this makes Ford ownership unreasonable, but buyers comparing total cost of ownership over a 10-year window consistently find Toyota the cheaper vehicle to keep on the road, even when the purchase price is similar. There's a nuance worth adding here, though. Ford's parts network is larger and more competitive than many import brands, which means aftermarket and independent shop repair options are often cheaper and more available for a Ford than for some competitors. Toyota parts, particularly for hybrid components and certain OEM sensors, can actually run higher than expected because independent shops sometimes lack the specialized tools or training that hybrid systems require. So while Toyota wins on frequency of repair, Ford occasionally wins on the cost of any individual repair once you factor in shop availability and labor competition, especially outside major metro areas. Real-world high-mileage examples. Numbers on a spec sheet only tell part of the story, so look at what actually shows up on the used market. Toyota Camrys, Corollas, and 4Runners crossing 250,000 and even 300,000 miles on their original engine and transmission are common enough that they barely make news anymore. They show up regularly in online communities where owners simply document routine oil changes and not much else. The 4Runner in particular has become something of a cult vehicle, precisely because so many examples keep running with minimal intervention well past the point most SUVs are retired. Ford's high-mileage stories cluster more heavily around its trucks than its cars or crossovers. F-150S with the 5.3-liter and later Coyote V8S crossing 200,000 miles are well documented, especially among fleet and work truck buyers who track uptime closely because their livelihood depends on it. Ford's EcoBoost-powered trucks are also reaching high mileage in growing numbers now that the platform has enough years behind it, though the maintenance history on those examples tends to include more turbo, injector, or cooling system work along the way than a comparable high-mileage Toyota. Fleet data adds another layer of confidence to both brands. Police departments and utility companies, which run vehicles harder and track maintenance more rigorously than the average private owner, have historically favored the Ford Crown Victoria, and more recently, the Ford Explorer-based Police Interceptor, precisely because the platform holds up under constant idling, hard acceleration, and minimal downtime for care. Toyota doesn't have the same fleet presence in North America, but rental and taxi fleets overseas, particularly in markets where the Camry and Corolla are run non-stop for years, have produced some of the most extreme mileage examples on record, with several documented cases of Toyota taxis surpassing 500,000 and even 700,000 miles on their original engine. Resale value and long-term ownership confidence. Resale value is essentially the market's verdict on all of the above, compressed into one number, and Toyota wins this category by a wide margin. Toyota models consistently top depreciation studies, holding a noticeably higher percentage of their original price after 5 years than almost any competitor, Ford included. Buyers are willing to pay more for a used Toyota specifically because they trust it will keep running with fewer surprises, and that trust shows up directly in what dealers can charge for a 7-year-old Corolla or RAV4. Ford's resale picture is stronger with trucks than with cars. The F-150 holds value better than most half-ton competitors, and significantly better than Ford's own sedans and smaller crossovers, which depreciate closer to the industry average. If you're buying specifically to hold value and minimize the pain of an eventual sale, Toyota is the safer bet across nearly the entire lineup, while Ford only closes that gap with its truck-dependent buyers. This resale gap has real financial consequences beyond bragging rights. A buyer financing a new vehicle and planning to trade it in after 5 years effectively pays for that depreciation gap out of pocket. And on a like-for-like comparison between a Camry and a Fusion-class sedan or a RAV4 and an Escape, that gap can amount to several $1,000s in lost equity by the time the loan is paid off. Truck buyers largely avoid this penalty because the F-150's resale strength rivals Toyota's own trucks, which is one more reason the real comparison here depends heavily on which specific vehicles within each lineup you're cross-shopping rather than the brand as a whole. The bottom line. So who actually wins? If the question is which brand you can buy almost blind and expect to run forever with minimal drama, Toyota takes it. And the margin isn't close when you average across the full lineup. Its engines are simpler, its transmissions have a cleaner track record, its electronics generate fewer complaints, and its resale value reflects a market that has trusted that reputation for decades. But Ford isn't the runner-up you might expect. Its trucks, especially Coyote V8 and even well-maintained EcoBoost F-150S, go toe-to-toe with anything Toyota builds, and buyers who specifically want a Ford for its capability and don't mind slightly higher maintenance costs are not making a mistake. The real answer is that Toyota wins the average case across its full lineup, but Ford wins the specific case of a well-chosen truck in the hands of an owner who keeps up with maintenance. A Camry versus a Fusion isn't a close fight, and neither is a RAV4 versus an Escape from the same model year, but an F-150 with the Coyote V8 against a Tundra is genuinely competitive. And some fleet buyers would argue it's the better truck outright. Which one is right for you depends less on the badge on the grille and more on which specific vehicle in each lineup you're actually cross-shopping, what climate you drive in, and how disciplined you are about staying on top of maintenance intervals. Let us know in the comments which one you're driving and how many miles you've put on it, and subscribe for more honest head-to-head breakdowns like this one.